6th of March 2020. We are 2 hours ahead of non-farm payrolls in US. The question is if anyone is going to, care about what's the non-farm payroll is, taking into the consideration what we currently face on the market. Huge risk of, I would say that during the European hours, it was almost like the panic selling when it comes to the indices. And it was also the panic selling when it comes to the dollar. And dollar index broke some time ago, broke through to the downside through the 98, and that's not the great signal. The question is if we are approaching end of that losing series, or we are going to face more dollar selling in the days ahead. So we are going to discuss the market just purely from the non-farm payrolls perspective. So without the further delay, let's have a look what we have when it comes to the major crosses. Okay, so let's start with euro dollar, guys, and that's the right here right now, that's the monthly chart. What is important here, what you have to notice, guys, the break through the yearly open. All right, that's quite important when it comes. That's quite important when it comes to the chart, because right here right now this 12.15 could work as some kind of the supply when we see a little bit of the pullback eventually, right? Of course, the question is where we are going to be towards the end of the month. The next one is the weekly open, which is right now at 10.50, right? So huge move to the upside, and as you can see, on the way up, there was a few significant levels we took out, right? Some swings. And we are approaching another swing high, quite important, because from here, right, we started to move to the downside. As you know, I'm still with very small exposure, looking for a possibility to add when it comes to the medium term to the dollar, because, well, all right, we have some kind of the euro short covering. That's no doubt about it. Some guys got the margin call, so trying to take the profit from the euro shorts to cover the margin. That's where I see the things happen all the time, right? Now, but I'm very close to get out of my long dollar position. It's going to be important where we are going to be at the end of the day today, right? Because, well, okay, there is a risk off, so of course the Swiss franc and the JPY usually are the safe havens currencies, and then US dollar. And I think we are a little bit overdone on both cable, and we are a little bit overdone here on euro dollar. So, well, I will look from the medium long term perspective to add into that. But we are talking today about the non-farm payrolls, and based on what we get when it comes to the ADP, I think the number is going to be okay. So what I'm gonna to look for? Well, I'm going to look for the fading, right? And what I'm gonna to look to fade in case of the good data, right? I'm going to look to fade this level. So I'm looking at the particularly at this current level, like right here, right now, right? Even we are still 2 hours, a little bit less than 2 hours. So I'm looking for these levels. We might see spike a little bit higher on the daily chart, right? But still between here and here. So we are talking about 13.50, 14. That's where I'm going to look for the intraday fading, right? But I'm not gonna fall in love with this intraday trade. I'm going to try to take the profit as soon as I can. I'm going to try to trade 3R, right? And what's going to be my target? My target is going to be somewhere here, right? Around 12.50, or if I'm in profit towards the end of the day and the volatility is going to go lower, then I'm going to close as well. But I'm looking to fade 13.50, 14 with the 12.60, 12.50 from the intraday perspective as a possible target, especially that we are not going to discover America, right? That was the biggest pullback, so I'm looking for the same time of the pullback from here, right? So that's how I see the things when it comes to the payrolls. I'm not gonna look to buy euro earlier than on the retest of this yearly open 12.50, right? And if you are going to get closer to that level towards the end of the month, that could create on the quarterly chart some kind of the dodgy candle, right? So very careful looking to buy dollar here. When it comes to the cable, situation is a bit better in favor of sellers. Still here, based on the monthly chart, we are far away from the monthly open. All right, we are far away from the monthly open, and we are testing 50%, half of the February range, right? From the weekly chart perspective, well, we are testing some kind of the visible supply right here. So both monthly, weekly, telling me that there is a chance we might see some kind of the rejection from here, especially that coronavirus is the one thing, but we have those Brexit talks, trade talks between UK, US will start soon, and all of these are not positive, in my opinion, not positive for the pound. The only thing I'm a little bit worried, we have similar situation with euro on the daily chart. A little bit worried is the breakout through this latest weakness, right? So overall, from the daily chart perspective, you want to see, from the daily chart perspective, you want to see the close below the line towards the end of the day, right? But for now, I'm taking those shadows, upper shadows over here as a supply. So I'm looking to sell in between here and 30.50, so between 130, 130.50. So we have some psychological level. I think some stops are done, and so we have a quite good chance to make the pullback. Now, if you are a novice trader, right, and you don't know what I'm talking about, just, you know, do the popcorn, buy the Coca-Cola and watch and learn, right? If you're a little bit more experienced, the important thing is here that the thing we discussed here are related to the very low exposure, that the first thing first, and we are not going to fall in love with this particular two trades on cable and euro dollar. We don't want to fall in love with those positions. If something is wrong, I'm gonna be down with those intraday trades, right? As I do have some my medium-term exposure as well. Meaning that with this particular trades, either I'm immediately right or immediately wrong post non-farm payrolls, right? So let's have a look the levels when it comes to the pound. I like those upper shadows, but cannot rule it out. One upper shadow more, right, towards the non-farm payrolls, meaning New York open and another similar candle as we've seen these two we have right now. So something like this, right? So that's what I'm gonna to look for when it comes to cable. And so, well, both euro dollar cable covered here ahead of the non-farm payrolls. I don't see the reason we are going to get wrong bad number today. The influence of the coronavirus we might see next month. But here should be fine. Of course, as a FX trader, you also want to see the average earnings, right? And going to the end, let's have a look what some dealers are thinking we are going to get. The most bullish is BNP Paribas 220, Morgan Stanley 210, Barclays, Wells Fargo 200, Goldman Sachs 195 with Jefferies, BMO, Deutsche Bank 180, Societe Generale 178, Daiwa, HSBC, JP Morgan, Mizuho 175, Nomura, RBC, Scotia, TD 170, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Citi, Credit Suisse 165, UBS 151, NatWest 150, Median 175. Guys, fingers crossed, don't be trapped, lower your exposure, be safe, have a great weekend, guys. Thank you, take care, and see you around.